I would rather speak a scripture than my own understanding, if that helps. So instead of me leaning on my own understanding, I'd rather you have a question, like it says about, all right, I'm anxious. Okay, well, it says, be thou anxious for nothing, but in all things in prayer and supplication and thanksgiving, petition the Lord with your troubles. Right? He didn't give us a spirit of fear or anxiety or any of these things. Okay, so I mean, I would go to a scripture as opposed to my own leaning on my own understanding. And we're getting way off of grifting, but I guess maybe according to Flo, Christians are grifters, and I would agree. If you go Flo dollar, and let's talk about Christian grifters.
Yeah, Flo unmuted himself, and I want to hear what he has to say about all of this.
Oh, I mostly just had little quippy one-liners. We'll get generally specific back over to the honest side sooner or later, but I have faith, so I'm not worried about it.
Anybody else?
The honest wait, what?
About Christian grifters? Like
No,
Joe Osteen?
you've heard my little spiel about how agnosticism is the only honest answer to are you religious?
No, I actually haven't, but yeah,
okay.
I was agnostic almost my entire life. Yeah.
So, and I think that that is the, in my opinion, because none of us actually know, unless somebody's had a near-death experience or whatever. Maybe there's the 1% of 1% who actually know because of some miraculous thing like that. But for all the rest of us plebes, the only honest answer is I don't know. Nevertheless, religion has most of the world running around saying they know when they don't know. And that's just straight out the gate is dishonest.
Then what's your definition of Gnosticism? Because I think we're talking past each other.
Agnostic, not Gnostic.
Yeah, let me hear from the machine lines. Do you have any thoughts on this about God and the belief of God and agnosticism?
Well, I think it's generally untenable, and the shortest answer I could give for that is that I believe that reality is stranger than fiction. You can't really produce a belief that's made up, in my opinion. So I think that all thoughts or ideas have to come from somewhere. So that is a prerequisite for, I think, that I believe that there's a creator, and we could talk about the differences. At least there has to be a mind behind the universe, But I think I think one could easily argue that nature is intelligent, but beyond that, I think it's possible to argue against agnosticism.
Sure, it's possible to argue against it. It's possible to argue all sorts of points, but the reality is, if somebody says, "Do you believe in God?" you can say yes or no.
Okay, so
go ahead.
Yeah, I need to read out 4 definitions so we can make sure we're on the same page. So, when I say theist, I mean affirms witnessing gods. Atheist denies witnessing gods. Agnostic doesn't affirm or deny witnessing gods, and witness is a testimony of seeing or touching an entity. And if I said I saw God on a Dark Matter 2525 cartoon, that would make me a theist by my definition. So
what I'm saying when I say I'm agnostic is that I don't know. That is the full answer. God could be there, God could not be there. But I think the only honest answer that damn near any human can give is the same one I just gave, which is I don't know.
Yeah, I think me and Hank would both agree that agnosticism is safer than atheism, in terms of logical capacity, right?
Right. Yes, atheism seems almost, it seems it's another religion to me. It's another faith, but it seems probably the least likely.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I wish I believed in God as much as atheists believe God didn't exist.
They wish they believed he didn't exist as much as I'm sure I don't know as well. A lot of them are putting on. I think a lot of atheists are angry at God and they actually do believe in him.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think a lot of atheists just are misotheists, the God haters. especially the ones from America.
Well, I think it's more interesting to talk about what people mean by God, because the theist only has faith, and the agnostic, doesn't count out the possibility of God's existence. So I think since those are the only two, real possible positions, since like atheism is relatively nonsense, and then surety of like belief, like saying that, oh yeah, I'm sure, that presupposes that basically God's mind and what's going on in the universe, basically totally. So I think that it's more interesting to just talk about what people mean about God. I think that theists and agnostics mean radically different things when they discuss that.
Well, you said something interesting. You said that theists only have faith. I don't agree with that. Only have faith. I've got an experience that I can't.
Did I say that?
No. I believe Lai said that.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Excuse
For
me.
Christians, it's more about direct experience, but not all theists would put it on experience. Some of them would put it on knowledge, not complete knowledge, but knowledge. Enough of, for example, revelation and the signs of nature and other things, right?
Would it be fair to say that perhaps you misspoke when you said that theists only have faith? And I can let that go. No.
Well, do you deny that there are theists who don't go just based off of experience? I do agree that some
Wait,
reach
what?
that by
You
direct
just wait.
experience.
You just made my point for me. Wait, what? What did you
What
just
was the
say?
point? What was the point I made? Yeah, we may be agreeing. Maybe I'm not aware.
Yeah, you said that. You said theists only have faith, whereas all these other examples have this, and all these different things. And
Yes,
I
one
would
could
argue
come
that
through faith. Yeah, one could come through faith through two ways. One is by knowledge, the other is by experience. Neither are complete knowledge of what is going on in the universe.
no.
So
Okay,
I think faith,
I'm
faith,
again. I'm
faith
not
is
trying to
different
be
from knowledge,
nitpicky,
right?
but you said specifically that theists only have faith. So it sounds like you don't agree with that statement. So therefore, it was just maybe you misspoke it. I'll withdraw from that. I'm not gonna. It's not a hill that I'm okay with fighting or dying on, because I think you misspoke.
Well, you may have knowledge of God's existence, or you may have faith in God.
Right. Okay.
Do you understand what I mean by that?
Well, that's not only faith. That's the reason why I brought it up. So we agree that it's not just only faith, because God gives us it is the glory of God to conceal a matter, and the pleasure of kings to seek that matter out. Yes. No.
Yes.
Yes, but we're not going to have complete knowledge of God, right?
Oh, complete. Now, see, you really move the goalpost. I mean, you just
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
really move that goalpost all the way to the absolute end of the journey.
Well, you brought in experience. I'm simply pointing out there's three different things. There's experience, there's knowledge, and then there's faith.
Okay, so I'm going to say it one more time. You said definitively that theists only have faith. Only have faith. That's what you said. You seem to have corrected it, so I'm not going to sit here and argue and kick a dead horse.
Well, I believe
it's becoming
that knowledge.
very pedantic.
Well. You may not think there's a connection between knowledge and faith. I believe there's a connection between knowledge and faith. We can move on from there if you'd like.
Well, I mean, my point is, God gave us brains. God gave us hands. God gave us the ability to manipulate things, create tools.
Yeah, so what?
Explore.
I don't understand how you're disagreeing with me. Like,
it's
what
a
are you disagreeing
scientific
with
method. So God gave us the. I'm not disagreeing with you. You made
right.
you made a fucking definitive statement, Lies, and I asked you about it.
What
and
was
now
the definitive statement?
Now
I
you're
made
moving the goalpost all around, dude. I've explained it to you 5 times.
What was the definitive statement I made?
In the name of Jesus, I say, go in peace, Muslim.
Okay. Well, that's not very informative to anybody's point, but yeah, I'd like to know the statement that I made that you definitively disagree with. That way we can move on with the conversation. But if you want to say go in peace, Muslim, then I say go in peace, Christian. You follow a false king, right?
Yeah,
I know them by their fruits.
Yeah, very specific.
Judge them by their fruits. Yeah.
I didn't hear the definitive statement, but I would like to reassert that you don't even need faith to be a theist, you could use assumption to get to that conclusion.
Yeah. Well, I think I won that one. It is what it is. But, yeah.
You clearly won. It was total complete victory.
All right, I guess it's time for me to chime in a little bit here. So let's try to think about what we agree on, and then if there's something that we don't necessarily agree on, let's try to be more articulate about what it is that we don't agree on. So I don't disagree with the statement that I think the Machine Lies was saying that you cannot completely know God. But is that necessary to know something about God or the existence of God? Would be the question that I would be asking. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, and I think that knowledge and faith are inextricably linked, but I think that faith is unique insofar as it comes before you have knowledge. That means you have to trust in what you want to know and learn, and then once you gain the knowledge, you have to agree that, your process of learning is incomplete. So you have to go on learning. True knowledge is knowledge of one's own ignorance, as it is often said, right?
Are we all on the same page about what faith means, or are we kind of going in different directions with that word when we hear that word?
I would say that I have a radically, maybe my own contrived definition of faith, and that seems that's problematic because I believe that faith and knowledge are linked. Because I don't think that complete knowledge is possible. So I believe that we have to rely on faith to a certain extent.
Yeah,
Okay.
I pretty much agree with the Machine Lies. So yeah, you have to just there's some stuff you can't prove, and that stuff that rely on that we can't prove will be categorized as faith.
Like you have to have faith in science, right? Because experts discover things about science that you may not know yourself, but nevertheless you use the tools of science in order to commit daily activities, right? So it's
Okay,
like
but
you have
but that doesn't require faith, like in my opinion, because like for example, like I don't know how a computer operates, but I know that it operates and is doing what I want it to do, but I don't know the inner workings. So is that what you would consider faith?
well in the sense that you give up privacy for security when you use the device. In that you have faith in everyone who's contrived the usage of that device. In a sense, you have a faith in society, the social bonds, the tools we use to communicate, and the experts who derive those tools, even though you don't know them personally. For example, I
Hmm.
think faith is linked to this concept called the thumos, which is about honor. And the way Socrates explains it is it's like the philosophic dog, that attacks those who he doesn't know and protects those who he knows, even though he doesn't have experience with those who he doesn't know.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's like loyalty is linked with faith. And I don't know how it's specifically linked, because I don't have like the map of the heart, but
Yeah,
but I do know that.
yeah. I I mean, like it's not it's you can't categorize it, right? I mean, like there's something that is connecting there, but it's difficult to uh
Yeah, I think the link is filial piety, somehow. But
is somebody unmuting here? Is that Mitchell? Did you want to say something?
No, I'm good. I didn't mean to unmute. Sorry.
Flo?
Yeah, I just forgot what I was going to say though. All right, come back to me.
Generally specific, I mean,
Hold on, I
okay,
remembered it.
Okay, go ahead.
You don't. So the computer example, you don't have. There's no faith extended to anything except for experience. You don't have to know how it's built. You don't have to know how it works. You just know that I've used computers. When I do this, it does this, and I buy one, right?
Yeah.
So I disagree that that's an extension of faith.
Yeah. I mean, that's wait a minute. That's what I was trying to get to, like that line of reasoning. Go ahead, Hank.
Yes, but like if you send an email or try a new app, well, you don't have experience with it working for a new address or a new application, so you had the faith to put any money down on it before you knew it worked. So there's a contradiction.
I never bought
I'm
a
not sure
computer until I'd already tried one.
I don't know. Yeah, I didn't really understand your point, Hank. Can you rephrase it?
So if you are doing something new, you don't have any experience in it, so you can't rely on your experience to know that works.
Right. Nobody has ever bought a computer though without having tried one first, and nobody ever. You've tried a merchant and you've tried a computer. So by the time you go to Best Buy to buy a computer, you've already used both of those things in a slightly different capacity.
So when we invented computers, someone already used one first.
See, now you're being disingenuous to just try to win. No, the person who invented the computer and sent the first email obviously knows how the whole system works because they made it. So they still don't need to extend any faith.
Well, you don't understand the manufacturing process then, because it's not as cut and dry. You literally had to bake the chips.
Okay.
Yeah, see, this is where we start to veer off, because like even in the like we're using the word faith and we are assuming that everybody is on the same page with it, but our personal usage seems to be a little bit different. But let me welcome Brick Jonesey. Hello, Brick Jonesey. What
Hi.
brings you here?
How you doing, Nachiketa? Yeah, so I was just kind of listening in over on GS's gaming channel, and I was enjoying the conversation, doing a little cleaning. But I heard somebody mention something about faith, and so just to help you guys out, I know maybe this might help. I don't know, but in order to have faith, you actually have to have evidence. So faith is actually defined in Hebrews 11:1 as it's based upon evidence. So in order to have faith, at least according to the Christian faith, and if you extend that by the fact that those scriptures were written for Hebrews in that time, it would have been extended to those individuals, the Hebrews. That faith that you're experiencing is based upon evidence. So that evidence might not be something that you personally experienced, but it is an experience nonetheless. So you're basing it upon evidence or experience. Faith is actually based on evidence. I just wanted to jump on the panel because I heard that and I'm like, well, in order to understand what faith is, you would absolutely need to define what it is. And a lot of people don't understand what faith is. They just
It's a claim, evidence.
Well, one second. How do you define faith then?
Okay.
Brick?
So this is actually where I would go to the scripture. It says, "Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen." So the substance and the evidence, right? So if you actually look at faith through that scope, you can actually see that anyone who puts faith in something or in a hope, or if you put faith down, you're going to base it upon experience, whether it's an experience that someone told you about or experience that you experienced yourself. That's evidence that you're experiencing. You're saying, you might disagree.
Okay, finish your thought. But you can finish your thought, and then let me give the mic to my Flo. Go ahead.
Sure. Yeah. So that basically is the idea behind faith, a belief, if you will, a thought that's based upon, okay, I am so sure of this. I am hoping in this because of that evidence that I've been told about. Even if I've been told about it, it's still evidence.
So an example is that when the wind blows from the east to the west, you believe that, although you don't see where it comes from or where it goes. You understand the wind, or that red sky at night. sailors delight, red sky in morning, sailors take warning. You see the signs and you believe these things, but you don't believe the things of heaven. So that's kind of what he's saying about evidence. You see the evidence, but go ahead, Faith. I'm sorry, Flo.
Somebody else's experience is not your evidence. That's illustrated all the time in these conversations where somebody makes a stupid claim and then somebody else is like, okay, what's your evidence? The claim is not evidence. I flapped my arms and I flew this morning. Do you have evidence of that? Absolutely not.
Yes, but if I said I flew on a
liar,
plane,
though.
yeah, but if I said I flew on the plane, you wouldn't ask me what proof planes exist because you know it exists. So you're just not
Correct.
using the term the same way the rest of us are.
Correct. And none of us have seen God.
Okay.
Dark Matter 25 cartoons. So you're false claimant.
Hold on 1 second. Let me give the mic to generally specific, and then I'll give it back to you, Brick. Go ahead.
I'm just letting you know we got hurricane warnings in my area here, so I may have to jet real quick. It's the second one that just went off. Or not hurricanes, tornado. I'm sorry. I'm used to being on the nor'easter.
Well, that is that hurricane.
Oh, that's from the hurricane that's causing this tornado?
Yes, sir.
Possibly. Oh, interesting. So I interrupted Flo actually, so forgive me on that one, but no. So as far as like in that you're making my argument, Flo. I'm not counteracting what you just said. One person's experience is not another person's argument, nor is one person's argument override another person's experience. These things seem to be self-evident to me. And that's why I said a person with an argument will never have anything on a person with an experience, meaning to that person, to your point, I think we'd agree on that, right, Flo?
Correct.
Yeah. So there's no disagreement there.
Okay. Brick, go ahead.
Yep. And so for me, when the experience is laid out that someone tells me and I can evidently tell that it's not accurate, perhaps like the statement, I flew this morning with my wings into the air. There's certain evidences that I've seen in reality that would indicate that you do not have wings. Humans do not have wings. Therefore, I do not believe you. I do not have faith in your statement. However, if you told me I got out of bed and I walked over to the fridge and I got a drink of tea, that I might believe you. I would have faith in that statement that is accurate. Certain accuracies are evident and evident enough for me to believe and have faith that what you are saying is true. Just having faith alone in some blind unreality isn't true faith. Not by the definition of what real faith is, the real definition.
So rectify that with a pregnant woman saying she's a virgin.
So those evidences that I have seen in reality give rise to the evidence that is definitely a possibility.
What else? Okay, go on.
So you're telling me that a woman that has her hymen attack could not be inseminated in some way, shape, or form?
No. I want to hear him explain what evidence he's seen in reality that would make him believe that that's reasonable. Like if a pregnant girl walked up to you right now and said she's a virgin, you go, the fuck if you are, you're pregnant.
Well, I just stated how that could be possible.
How could it be possible?
It could be literally just the tip and not breaking the hymen, and she could by pre-cum.
Was that a penis and a vagina? Yes.
Yeah, but that's not the intercourse of that. She would still.
Now you're trying to dissect what a virgin is.
Well, no, you made the claim of what a virgin is. You tell me what a virgin is. I mean,
if a woman gets pregnant,
what happens if you wipe your daughter's vagina a little too hard when she's a baby? Is she, all of a sudden now she's not a virgin? According to your logic,
you're fucking stupid sometimes. Generally specific.
I'm not being stupid.
You're being stupid as shit.
Absolutely moronic with your argument. You're making an assertion and a statement, Flo.
I'm asserting that if a woman is pregnant, she had sex with a penis.
Yes, you're asserting that because you're narrow-mindedly thinking.
Well, there could be an artificial insemination, Flo.
There could be an artificial insemination.
It doesn't have to be a penis, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Now, whether that's from God or from an alien, you tell me.
I'm going to say if a woman walks up to me who's pregnant and she says that she's a virgin, I'm going to say you're a fucking liar. Every one of us is going to respond that way.
All right. I mean, do we have to play this game of like what is a virgin now, or what?
Good thing Joseph didn't do that.
I'd like to respond to it.
Turns out Joseph was the only virgin in that marriage. Go ahead.
Oh God. Okay, go ahead, Rick.
Okay. So these are the basic Christian prophecies that are explained in the Bible. So there's a lot of prophecies that led up to what's referred to as the Immaculate Conception or the virgin birth or whatever you want to call it. Okay. There are prophecies that the historical document, the scriptures, speak about, and those scriptures lead up to that point. So there's certain evidences that are in there. One of them is he will bruise you in the head, and he will bruise you in the heel. That one right there, that's actually a prophecy. There's a lot of prophecies, and in order to get down into the meat of the matter, you would actually need to go into the scriptures and discover and look at all of those prophecies, and to see how many prophecies that are spoken about. It's a certain aspect where it's like overwhelming.
This is self-referential.
I'm sorry?
This is self-referential.
Yeah. I didn't hear you because somebody said, yeah.
Self-referential. You're using the word in its own definition.
Self-referential. What is that? Self-referential.
It means you're using the Bible to support the Bible.
Okay, so I'm using scriptures, which is manuscripts, thousands and thousands of years of manuscripts and historical documents. That's not the Bible.
Okay, let me rephrase it. You're using some bullshit somebody said to support some other bullshit somebody said. All of it does not have any correlation in any of our realities.
Well, it is the faith by evidence.
That's not evidence. That's my whole point, is you don't have evidence of a virgin birth. You have a few old school claims.
So you don't trust the historical documents, and I do.
Let me ask a break. Do we have any other instances of a woman being pregnant but still was a virgin, other than the Virgin Mary? Are there any other instances of this? Do we still have some instances of this happening?
As to my knowledge, this is the only one, according to the scriptures, that actually happened. There is, however, another instance of a human being being, quote unquote, born out of another human being without pregnancy. That's Eve. Eve was
Which both of those both of those instances of Eve and Virgin Mary is from the Bible, and actually it's in the Quran as well about the virgin birth of Mary. And of course, I can't deny it 100%, but I also question the veracity of such event if there are no current evidence for such a event to occur, right?
Yeah, and I mean, ultimately, you would have to go into the scriptures and study them diligently to look at all the prophecies, to look at all of these things that are, I mean, in my mind, I've looked at them and I've said, okay, if this is true, and this is true, and this is true, and go on down the line of all of these prophecies and see the things that actually happened. I mean, the evidence just becomes overwhelming that
it does. The evidence, the prophecies are loose fits and interpretations. You have to work to get them to fit.
You keep saying that you're agnostic, Flo, but you seem pretty much like you've made up your mind that the Bible is bullshit.
Yeah, I was going to say that too.
So can we?
Well, I recognize when somebody is talking out their ass.
Well,
I've looked at the process.
I know out of your ass is ad hominem. I mean, that, or whatever you want to call it. It's a play on words to
say that you're talking out of your ass is talking out of my ass.
You're trying to discredit. You're trying to discredit my argument by calling
your
me an
argument
idiot.
discredits itself by not having it.
No, you're basically calling me an idiot.
I'm not calling you an idiot. I'm calling you a liar. I'm calling you a liar, not an idiot.
Okay, well, you can call me a liar all day long, but I have studied the scriptures, okay, and I have seen the evidence in the scripture and in the historical documents.
So if you could, link that. So the question was asked earlier by yourself, I think, Nach.
Yeah,
and
go
again,
ahead.
hopefully that answers it. I've got it shared in the back chat there. Might be hard.
Yeah,
to
you can
see
read
'cause
it if you want.
Well, it says while it's unlikely, any activity that introduces sperm to the vaginal area makes pregnancy possible without penetration. The phenomenon is sometimes referred to as virgin pregnancy or a splash pregnancy. However, the chances of getting pregnant without sexual intercourses are very low, and to be a virgin means no penetration, and pregnancy cannot occur without penetration, which kind of actually argues the opposite of what they just said in the beginning of that. So I'm not really sure, the veracity of even that statement. But
well,
I mean,
this is semantic.
Well, see,
I'm sorry, guys.
Here's the part
where
where
contradictory statement.
Where
well, I
if
mean,
you believe that God is
you
real,
can laugh. I mean, the question was asked, and I, in good faith, went to someone else.
Yes.
That
Okay.
No,
So
I get it. Yeah.
That
yeah, okay,
wasn't
one
what
second.
Flo was asking you guys to prove. He was asking you to prove that he was asking you guys to prove another instance of God
right? And he
impregnating
wants
a
proof.
woman
Well, I'm
miraculously.
sorry, but my Lord and Savior has provided as much proof as he can possibly prove.
That's bullshit.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
If you don't believe it, that's on you.
No,
and I have a hope.
Yeah. You don't think
Wait a
that he
minute.
could provide better proof?
So I have a
wait
hope.
a minute.
I can tell you that much.
Wait a minute, Brick. If you don't believe it, that's on you. That's like a false dichotomy. It's basically saying, well, I know that.
I got you. I understand what you're saying. So I'm going to tell you right now that I woke up this morning. If you don't believe it, I don't care.
No, of course you woke up this morning, or I don't know when you woke up. I have to take your word for it because you're talking to us, so you're awake at the moment, unless you are.
Well, I could have just stayed awake through the whole night, but I'm telling you, I woke up this morning.
You can't think of any better way that God could demonstrate
I can think
a
of
virgin
lots of
birth.
better ways.
He's done
agree.
it many ways, many times.
But
if you don't believe every time, it's just like I don't know what to tell you. If he does it over and over again.
That's fine, and that's what we are here to discuss. Okay, Hank, you go first, and then I'll give the mic to generally specific. Go ahead, Hank.
No, that generally specific guys had the mic too much. Forget that guy; he's a jerk.
Okay, so there could be a translation issue because virgin used to mean young woman, and that may be the misinterpretation. But I personally don't believe that immaculate conception because there's not enough evidence for it. We should see more other instances, or we have a genetic record of Jesus showing that he's a Nephilim or something. So I'm kind of a flow on this one.
Go ahead, sir.
I will respond to what I think Brick kind of inartfully made a statement that he doesn't. I think what he meant to say is God doesn't need to show you any more than he already has. He can show you all if he wanted to. So again, it's one of those situations where, like when I'm preaching the gospel, I'm not responsible for the heart of the receiver of the message. I'm just told to sow the seeds. Does that make any sense? Like the condition of the heart of the receiver of that seed, like if I'm sowing a seed right now to flow state, or if I'm coming back and I'm watering a seed I already sowed, or someone else sowed a seed and I'm watering it, God will always provide the increase, but I'm not responsible for Flo's heart. If it's hardened, it's hardened, and it doesn't matter how much seed I throw his way. Or if I'm let's say I'm trying to sow a seed for Mitchell, and then Flo comes over and seed snatches that and tries to get Mitchell to not believe what the seed that I'm sowing. They call them seed snatchers. Basically, he's just snatching the seed. So I mean, Flo, I don't know, man. I hear you, bro, but you don't sound very open-minded. So how do you explain the wind?
Open.
Do you believe in the wind?
Do I believe in the wind? Yes, I believe in the wind.
How do you believe in it? You can't see it.
This is a stupid question. This is why I don't believe Christians.
It's the exact
it
question.
is a stupid question.
Explain to me how it's a stupid question.
I can't see it. I can feel it.
Okay, you can feel it. Well, Christian can feel the love of God. So
no, when I say feel, I mean a physical sensation. I don't mean an emotional state. This is the semantic bullshit that dupers play.
How do you know you're not just in a deep, weird, freaking VR induced sleep where you're being intravenously
This is a
fed bugs?
disingenuous question. I'm not following this line of questioning down that stupid ass rabbit hole. This is what I'm
You
saying.
sound really jaded, Flo.
Christians,
You really do. I
don't give
thought
a
you were
fuck.
open-minded, but I don't know, man. It's cool, dude. I mean,
Says the man who's spat now at two Muslims. I've seen you interact with two Muslims, and you've cursed both of them.
So listen, Dr. Justin Spies was 100% right with you. You don't talk shit about
Who's
Muslims.
Justin
You protect
Spies?
Muslim. He's the guy that wants to debate you. That he.
Hey,
Unfortunately,
guys,
I can't
hey,
get
listen.
a date on it.
No,
But
it's got nothing to do with protecting Muslims.
Hold on, you protect Muslims.
All
and
of
you
my
shit all over
criticisms of
Christians
all of my
every fucking time,
criticisms
Flo.
of Christianity, except for one, applies to Muslims. The only one that doesn't apply to Muslims is they're not rude when they're full of shit. They're just full of shit. Actually, that's not even true.
No, they just
I have
use
talked to a few.
taqiya, Flo. They use taqiya, right? Have you ever been to a Muslim nation?
No, I have not.
Okay. Have you ever seen how they look on human life, especially female life over there?
I've heard about it.
Yeah. Women are for breeding and boys are for pleasure.
I was born in a Muslim nation, and women are basically treated with respect. You know, most people there treat women with respect. You know, most of the Pakistanis I know.
I must have saw something
generally specific. Instead of making a case for why your bigotry is justified, why don't you address the fact that there is not
ad homs? I don't get
you're
the
calling me a
ad-homs,
bigot
bro.
now?
Are you not?
You're a Christophobe.
Bro, you just keep using ad hominems. That's not a point of argument.
Yeah. Check your Christophobia, man. Why do you have an irrational fear of Christians and an irrational
my
love
God.
of Muslims? And you claim to be
How's this for an ad hom? You just made up a word that obviously doesn't apply here.
Oh, okay.
You have
so everyone can make up a word about everything other than Christians.
Generally
right?
specific. How many times have you heard me spit at Muslims?
I have no idea.
Or at Christians? How many times have I spit at Christians?
What does that even mean? Spitting at a Muslim? That's the most retarded thing I've ever heard.
That's
like the third time
it was
that's
retarded.
The third time that you've said that to me. Where's the clip, dude? Show me the clip. What do you mean spitting at a Muslim?
This is again you being disingenuous. I'll tell you when it was. It was on my channel.
What does it even mean to spit at a Muslim?
I gotta run. Have a blessed day. Generally specific, Nachiketa and Flow State and Mitchell. It was good to see you guys again. Ethan Ethan and Brick. It's good to meet you guys. Have a blessed day, everyone.
All right, later, TML. Later, machine.
What is the purpose of like you're claiming I'm spitting at a Muslim? What does that even mean? Is there some kind of
my point is that you're a bad faith debater and a bigot.
Now I'm bad faith. Fuck you, Flo.
Go fuck yourself, generally, crybaby.
Yeah, whatever, dude. I better fuck myself because you couldn't afford it.
Generally,
I've never seen a more
disingenuous
person. You claim that you hate all religions equally, yet you take up for Muslims over Christians.
I only ever debate Christians.
Yeah, well, why don't you start debating Muslims there, genius?
Because I know two of them, and one of them is blocked on my page.
Oh, well, why is that? Why are they blocked on your page?
Because he owes me $100 because he's a fucking liar.
Oh, so taqiya?
I don't know what that means. You didn't just score a win. You just called yourself a prostitute.
No, taqiya it's a practice of lying to further your own religion. Normally, you're not supposed to lie because it'll prevent you from going to heaven. But they can lie if it furthers their religious beliefs or keeps them from losing their lives.
That's fine. This is whataboutism. I'm not supporting Islam. I'm saying you're a douchebag independent of religion. You are a douchebag.
What I'm saying, Flo, is go fuck yourself first off. Seriously,
I don't care about taqiya. I'm not defending Muslims.
Of course you don't. Of course you
You're trying to put me in a position where I'm defending Islam because it's easier to attack Islam than my point, which is that you don't know shit. There's no virgin births that you can experience. All you're doing is referencing.
I just gave you a scientific reference, and you.
So is that what you think happened to Mary? You think that semen just splashed up into her vagina?
Other than what the Bible says, but apparently you seem to know. Why don't you
What's the Bible say?
Time travel machine and
what's the Bible say?
Why don't you go check to see if her hymen was intact?
Well, we can't. That's why I don't believe it.
All right, so I'm gonna go film the storm. If I don't lose connection, I'm gonna be AFK for a little bit. Flo, go fuck off, dude.
Go sit in your corner and cry, bitch.
100% grifter.
Okay.
Generally specific, you.
Go ahead, Ethan.
I was just going to say that generally specific, you're asking him to prove negatives and to use two pieces of evidence that are from the book of evidence that you claim that he's not believing in, and then you're saying that he needs to then prove to you that something crazy or miraculous can't or not shouldn't happen in like some far off land. It's a non-falsifiable claim. It's pseudoscience by nature. Like, you're not arguing in good faith right now, and your religion specifically states that you're saved by faith through by grace through faith, and then you're claiming that you have knowledge of God, and these are the knowledges and the proofs and the evidence of the knowledge. But it's like, dude, just admit that it's a faith, and that these two things are enough for you to prove and to give you enough faith, and that you're saved through faith, and stop trying to be saved through knowledge, because you're not saved through knowledge according to your own religion. You're saved through faith, your trust and loyal belief, which is Merriam-Webster's dictionary, that faith is a trust and loyal belief. It's like, it's a religion. That's what it's for. Like, just let it be a religion. Stop turning it into a science.
Okay, let me yeah, go ahead, Brick. Let me ask you, go ahead. You speak.
Yeah, man. You know, it is kind of funny because that is actually exactly what he's been doing the whole time that I've noticed. He's just been expressing to you guys exactly what his faith is, his belief.
That's
to
fine.
him,
I
yeah,
don't have any issues with it. I
right.
don't have issues with you and your belief. I don't have issues with generally specific and his belief. And I don't have issues with anybody else's belief. But what we are trying to achieve is through the means of communication is that I want to know why you think the way you do. I want to know why you believe the way you do. Right. And and let me preface by saying that I believe in God. Okay. Do I know of God's existence? It's hard to say. I mean, maybe that's going to be stretching it a little bit, but I'm very strong in my assessment that God exists. But now, having said that, being in an agnostic position, let's just assume that the flow state is in the agnostic position and he's not really for or against God. Let's just take it for what it is. I think that's a stronger position to be than a believer's position, in the sense of providing evidence, because you cannot, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, I cannot provide God to anybody. I'm sorry. Did I say provide? I meant prove. You cannot prove God. And, you know, for me, my quote unquote God, I cannot name my God. I cannot, it's not a tangible thing, but, you know, there's a strong feeling, let's just call it, that God exists. That's where I'm at. But at the same time, I do have reservations about calling myself, say, Muslim or Christian or Hindu or whatever. You know, I think they all have some truth to it, but also they have their own tangents as well. I hope everybody's understanding me so far. Did everybody follow my rationale here?
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely. Yeah. No, and I actually do agree with it completely 100%. You know, that faith, right? It's ultimately it's a belief. There are certain pieces of knowledge and evidence, in my view, that I believe are enough evidence to provide such a high degree of faith, a high degree of belief, to the point where you can almost say, I know.
You don't have any more evidence of your faith than you do that bears eat porridge.
But you read it in the book, Goldilocks flow state. It's not enough evidence.
There's lots of different manuscripts of that book.
So why don't you believe in that book that Goldilocks had porridge with bears?
Exactly.
Well, I mean, to me, that's a really good question. You know, is that something you could expound upon?
What do you mean expound upon it? Like I feel like it's an obvious comparison. There's a book that makes a claim that conflicts with everybody's real life experience.
You just don't believe hard enough, as Sean Elk here has said.
Apparently,
So
the most important virtue for getting into heaven is that you're gullible.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if I would go that far myself, but go ahead, Brick.
Yeah. So I'll make a definitive statement and tell me whether you believe me or not. I identify as king of everything. Do you believe me?
I believe that you can identify that way. I don't believe that you are that thing.
That's fair. Now, how do you know that I'm not king of everything?
Because you don't have the right to come take my things.
Okay, that's fair too. So what I actually did right there is I actually moved the goalpost from belief to knowledge, right? And what you stated was that you know that I'm not king. But before I had stated that I identify, that's a belief, right? And this is what happens with conversations is someone will say, I believe it. And then someone will ask, well, how do you know? Do you
And that's
understand what I'm
actually
saying?
kind of the point, is because you're asking him to prove a negative, and he doesn't have to do that. It's
Did
called
I?
shifting
Did
the
I
burden
ask
of
him to
proof.
prove anything? Hold on.
Yeah, you did.
Prove
Because
that
you
I'm
just
You
not.
no,
proved that
hold
you
Prove
on.
weren't
that I'm
God.
not
I
the
did
king
not
of
ask
everything.
anybody to prove anything.
Yes,
I
you
have
did. You
plenty of
asked me
proof
to.
for myself. I have plenty of proof for
It's
myself. I don't owe you anything.
Wait a minute,
Bricks.
Brick.
Listen,
Brick, you're not being wholeheartedly honest there, because you were talking to Flow State. Like, if you believe that you are a king in your own realm, nobody can prove or disprove that. But if you're having a conversation with somebody else and ask them, and how do you know? How do you know that I am not a king of the whole entire world? Right?
Yeah, I mean that's fair to state. However, I did not ask for proof. I just asked, how do you know? That's not asking for proof.
Ah, okay. So it's a semantics thing. Okay, got it.
Yeah, it's always
I
a
mean, you can say
semantics
it's
thing. It's
semantics.
always a semantics thing with liars.
It's a question. It's a
Okay,
question.
no,
How
no.
do you know?
So
It's not asking for proof.
okay. Well, I mean, then, okay. So it's a logical thing. Let's just call it. So, like, okay, let me give the mic to Flo. Like, let's just continue on with the conversation as is. So, how do you know, Flo? How would you be able to answer that question?
Well, basically, he is asking for a negative because he's asking for proof that he's
No, no,
not
no,
the thing.
no. He's not
But how
asking for
do
proof.
I know?
Yeah. He's asking for your knowledge of whether or not he is a king of everything or not.
precursor for knowledge is proof. You got to prove
Right.
to have the
Yeah.
knowledge.
Thank you.
Okay.
So
All
here
right.
we can do a quick demonstration. Brick Jonesy, if you're the king of the world, kick Nachiketa out of his own stream.
I cannot,
Why?
because it's not my stream.
You're the king of the world. Everything is yours.
That doesn't mean that I have power over his stream.
Command him to kick himself off
Why would I do that?
to demonstrate that you're the king.
So now you want proof. See, I don't need the proof. I know that I am king.
We both know that you're not king of everything. Otherwise, I couldn't sit here and call you a fucking liar and a piece of shit. You'd get
Okay.
mad. You'd have my head off.
Okay.
But
Wait a minute.
No,
nevertheless,
not
I sit here.
necessarily. See, because I don't get in my feels. I don't have any
Okay.
feelings towards you calling me this
You
or
have
that.
feelings towards your delusion,
I don't have any feelings.
as does generally rage quit.
No, he
You
didn't
know.
rage quit. He went to film The Storm.
Oh yeah, he went to go film the storm. Okay.
Okay, one second. So, like, what about this situation? Is this situation kind of similar to what you are putting out there, Brick? And you just let me know. If a man cuts off his dick and dresses up as a woman, right, and pumps himself full of estrogen, grow a little bit of boob, is that person a woman? That person genuinely believes that he is a woman, but would you believe that that person is a woman? Would you consider this something similar or something entirely different?
No, this is a good analogy. This is actually a fair analogy considering it's such a
Apropos
contentious
topic.
one.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, I like it. So I can't prove that that individual doesn't believe that he's a woman. It's so ingrained into his mind, his mental state, that he is a woman, that he's actually gone to that length.
But how do you know then?
How do I know? I would actually have to
Yep.
look at his genitalia, which I'm not going to do.
Well, it's no longer there. I mean, I told you it's cut off and it's flipped inside
Okay,
down.
that's
And
fair.
okay. So so looking at the genitalia would be enough for you to tell whether somebody is a woman or a man.
Oh yeah, that would be enough.
But what if it's very convincing? What if the plastic surgeon is so advanced, surgery is so advanced enough to make it very convincing for you that that is indeed the original genitalia that was attached to that body?
Now, that's a good point, because at that point in time, I would have to state, I don't know.
Aha. Okay, so it's no longer applicable to as a proof for you, because
Right.
before you're saying, so before you were, let me finish. Before you're stating that it was enough for you to look at it, but now after I give you more information, you are in doubt whether or not that it will be enough information for you to know whether that person is indeed a man or a woman.
Yes, that evidence becomes so obvious, or so I should say inobvious, that
Okay, so
I
here's what
can't
I would
tell.
say. I would take a DNA or a sample of the DNA of that person, and I would go and use, like, whatever devices they use, and I will be looking for an XY chromosome, because they can dress up that person in any which way. They can surgery that up, and maybe in the future where they can be so good and take enough ribs out and shave off enough bones in the body and put things together to the point where I cannot tell the difference, because I can still kind of tell the difference between when somebody's a tranny or not, enough to know based on the structure of man's body and women's body. But if it ever got to a point where it was so good that I can't tell, I know that they cannot change the DNA of that individual. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that absolutely makes sense. They cannot change the DNA of that individual. Here's a question. What of the doctors do you believe? Would you believe that they actually got the DNA from that individual?
Well, that's a different question now, because like you're saying that a cheating could be had, that they're like doing a little switcheroo and using a female DNA and taking it to a forensics lab, right? And then I would have to
Right.
accept that, right, under false premise. But that is like, I mean, that's a consideration, but that's not really applicable to my example. Do you understand why it's not applicable?
Well, I do to an extent, yes, because you've presented it as that is the definitive DNA. However, you would literally still have to consider that those individuals who wrote down on the mark sheet what it is it male or female?
Yeah. I would have to
Right.
believe the process. I completely agree with you. I'm assuming that you and I both agree the process is valid, and that would be a way for us to know and agree that that is a man or a woman behind that meat suit.
Apply that line of questioning to the Bible.
Right. And so this is where faith comes in, because you have to consider all of the evidences. You can't just go by whether that individual has genitalia or not. You can't consider whether the doctors cheated on it or not. You have to look at it at a whole. You have to consider the DNA. You have to consider what that person looks like and their mannerisms. Do they have facial hair? You have to consider everything. You can't just say, "Oh, it's
Agreed.
blind faith." It's not blind faith. And that's what I'm saying.
It's a lesson in discernment. I would agree.
Yes.
Right. So this is what we are all engaged in, to understand why you have the beliefs that you hold to be true to you, while the rest of us, I can't speak for Ethan or Mitchell, but I'm assuming Flow State and I are kind of on the same page here, that that book that you state, the Bible, which I believe that there's a lot of good things in the Bible for sure, but do I believe that it's the Word of God? No. No. Do I think that Jesus is the Son of God? No. Do I think that Jesus is God? No. Do I think that Jesus died for your sins? I do not. But so we start to differ a little bit once we start to like kind of dissect about what our beliefs are. Go ahead, Flo. You want to say something?
I was just going to point out that, well, never mind. Never mind.
Okay, so I mean, like, but I'm just being very honest about my beliefs and my lack of faith, you can say, about the Bible. But I have read bits of the Bible. I'm not a very well versed in the Bible. I just know a few things, and I read the Gita as an example, and some Vedas and stuff like this. And they talk about in the Gita that Krishna is the avatar of God, as an example. And supposedly some 3,500 BC. Flo, go ahead.
Generally rage quit. How are you typing in the chat and filming the storm at the same time?
Come on, Flo. Let's just be cordial here at least, so we can have a conversation. If Generally Specific wants to participate in the conversation, he is more than welcome to. If he doesn't, not a problem. Okay. Anybody else want to chime in about this conversation? Mitchell, you've been quiet. Did you want to say something? I want to give you a chance to say something, and then Ethan as well. Go ahead, Mitchell.
Go ahead. I mean, I have a perspective on all this, but I don't really like to engage in the religious debate. It's just never ending. There's no resolution to it. Because there is no way to prove it one way or the other. So.
Correct. So the only honest position is my position, which is I don't know, and I don't claim to know. Only liars claim to know.
Okay, Ethan, do you have any thoughts?
I just think that they're asking everyone to prove a negative, which is illogical, and they're shifting the burden of proof on us to prove things aren't true, and that's illogical. And even the Bible, you know, according to all these books and scriptures, the guy who's everyone calls Jesus, even though allegedly that's not his name, they keep saying he's God, even though that guy claimed multiple times that he wasn't God and that God is in heaven. And I think that it's interesting that they keep trying to prove and have knowledge of God, that God exists, even though their religion is a faith, and it's supposed to be a faith, and they claim to be saved by faith, but then they try to keep telling everyone to know God and that they know God. I think it's absurd all around, to be honest.
Okay, Brick, let me bring it back to you. So how would you like to approach it? Is there another angle in which that you can approach this topic that might be palatable for everybody else here? Do you think?
Yeah, well, I mean, ultimately, it's funny that the topic of religion typically does swing to the Christian faith. And so I'm not in disagreement that it is faith. Knowledge is like 2 + 2 = 4. Put 2 apples on the table, and you put 2 more apples on the table. You can count them. It's 4 apples, and we express that through the language. We also can believe that there's 4 apples on the table, right? And so when I came up here, I just wanted to make sure to explain that faith is based upon evidence. It's not I'm not going to say every piece of faith. Not every belief is based upon faith. Some people believe some outlandish things, right?
Okay.
In my view,
Go ahead.
In my view, Christianity as a whole, not like some of these, I don't know, what do you want to call them, sects, denominations, who group up and become some religious power. There's some traditions that they hold that are obviously wrong in my view, morally, but the faith and the evidence, for me, it's there.
Okay, that's fine. Go ahead, Flo.
Satan is the prince of lies. Christianity has been the biggest religion on earth for the past 1,000 years. Christianity, although not exclusive to Christianity, all religions, at least all monotheistic ones in my experience, have its proponents out here claiming to know something they do not know. If you can't read into that, I don't know what, then you lack discernment.
Welcome to the panel, Pirate. Do you have any thoughts on the discussion that we're having?
Yes, hello. Do you hear me well first?
Yes, you're coming in loud and clear and without any static this time or clicking.
Okay, great.
So, sounds good.
Yeah, just to say, Flow State is a bit rude when he say, I think he's right when he say people who say they know are liars.
but it's also it's accurate, but it's also rude because a lot of it's not about you can think you know, but your senses are tricked, and your discernment is tricked, and so you think you know. So it's not really that you're a liar. It's just you're wrong.
You're correct. I am rude, and that's my bad. I mean, I'm not apologizing for it. I'm just acknowledging that you're not incorrect in that.
Yeah,
But
it wasn't to call you out or anything. Just...
Sure, and it does reduce my effectiveness. I get that. Do you think? Well, let me just say this. I don't think that these people are confused. I think that they are asserting a lie because they want to believe it, so they want others to validate it as well.
Yeah, it's like so at the end of the day, yeah, it's at one point you can be tricked, and maybe at one point you make a choice to I don't know, maybe at one point you make some choice and you start lying to your own self.
Generally specific, are you able to speak, or do you just choose not to speak? I'm just wondering.
He wants to take pot shots from the chat like a fucking rage quitter.
Come on, Flo. Let's try to get off on the right foot here.
I'm getting off on generally specific's face right here.
Okay. I mean, obviously he's not. There's no obligation for him to respond, but if you can,
Only if he wants me to quit getting off on his face, spooge.
Okay, I guess that is probably a definite no, that he does not want to participate in the conversation using voice. So we will continue on. So Pirate, do you have faith?
Yeah, I guess.
And what does it mean?
Yeah, that I believe in a creator, and
have you experienced a creator?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe like Flow State said, I'm tricked, but I think yes, I have experienced it myself. Then to explain
and
it,
what makes you think so, and then what makes you not know 100% that is the case? There seems to be a little bit of doubt in there.
Oh, I will say I'm sure myself. I have my own certainties about. It's like I would say it's in the heart, and then when you grow up, you doubt. You ask yourself questions. I ask myself, I doubt, and I ask myself question. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we're just a spinning ball, infinite spinning ball in the space, and randomness created us, and we're insignificant. And yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure God exists, and I have this strong feeling. I don't have doubt about this. I more have doubts about the narrative of the religions, and what there is after, why the world is like this, what's the meaning of life, and all of that. I don't have the definite answer, but about the creator, I will say I'm convinced about the creator.
Okay. What is your evidence? Do you have any evidence for yourself or anybody else, or is it just subjective thing?
I'm back, by the way.
It's such a long path. Personally, I like to get sure about it. That I mean, I respect everyone in their own faith, and if they don't believe, I mean, I respect it. I cannot convince you about the creator. I mean, if you think there's not, we can maybe argue about how things seems to have meanings in life. How sometimes we see stuff as random, but when you look at it, it's not that random. Stuff like that. I don't know. Simple feelings like that.
Okay, that's fine. Generally specific, if you're back, would you like to respond, or
sure? I mean,
comment?
it's like I think it's interesting that you know, I mentioned the wind. He believes in the wind. That through experience they've realized if there's a red sky at night, it usually means fair weather in the morning. Red sky in the morning, sailors take warning. That's been a thing for a long, long time because it's observable. They have faith that if they see a red sky in the morning, that it means usually bad weather coming. Red sky at night, good weather. They understand that something just blew past them, though they can't see it. They've have had an experience with something brushing past their skin, whether you call it goosebumps, whether you call it an actual invisible thing touching you and making your hair move. I just think it's interesting how you keep grasping. I don't know if you understand what agnostic actually means, or maybe it's because I considered myself a hopeful agnostic, right? Maybe that's why.
Define for us. What is your definition about?
It just means without knowledge. So how do you claim that you're without knowledge, yet you claim to have knowledge that counters my knowledge or my claim of knowledge? If you have no knowledge, then how do you counteract my claim of knowledge?
Doesn't mean that I have no knowledge of anything. It means I don't know if a God exists. What I do know is I can recognize. I do know certain things, and I recognize laws. Or I'm sorry, I can recognize lies when I see them and hear them.
Oh, okay. So why don't you work for the court system? You could be like a human lie detector test on that.
I'm a felon, so they won't have me.
Well, I mean, that's
Meet the Fockers or whatever it was, where you can be the human lie detector.
Meet the Fockers.
This is you being disingenuous again. I can't tell every lie all the time. No, you're not. You're playing little semantic games, little sarcastic games. I'm still splooging on your face. Go rage quit again.
You complained that I was chatting with you when I was not located at my computer. Now that I'm back, you won't let me have a conversation with you. What's going on, Flo? Is it that?
I just want to see if I can get you to cry.
Is it that time of the month, Flo?
I just want to see if I can get you to cry. Can we cam up so that I can see your micro expressions?
Is it a maxi pad or a mini pad today?
GS,
gentlemen. 1 second. 1 second, Brick. 1 second, Brick, please. Everybody, please.
I'm guessing.
So this is what I want to offer. So like when Flo, let me ask you this question. If you say you have the ability to know that somebody is lying, can you give us an example of what generally specifics has said that you believe is a lie? I mean what is the hunch, I guess? Can you let's go with that. Let's try to be
because he and Brick as well, they both keep deflecting off into tangential semantics to avoid the fact that they don't know what the fuck they're claiming to know. That's the point. And the one they keep moving nothing.
That's my point.
This is a semantic tactic again. He said he's agnostic, so he doesn't know anything. I know that you're lying to me about what you claim to know.
I have a genuine question.
Wow, I mean, it's just amazing. Go ahead.
But let's just okay. I just
it's amazing that he's trying to interpret agnostic to mean no knowledge of anything at all, when clearly it's in context of whether God exists.
Flo,
that's the dishonesty. That's the dishonesty.
Gnostics are speaking. Be quiet and learn.
Okay, go away, cry, bitch.
Brick, go ahead. What is your question?
Okay, so and this one's for Flow State. What is truth?
Is this another? I'm inclined to not answer this because it feels like another semantic rabbit hole.
Okay, let me ask Brick a question. Where are you going with this? Is the question that I would like to ask you.
It's a genuine question that was presented to someone else.
What is truth to you?
So this question was presented to someone in a historical document. Okay, and that's why I wanted to ask Flo, what is truth?
And I'm not going to answer it. I'd be happy to. I'd be happy to hear your definition of truth, but I'm not going to play the semantic game.
God, you're such a coward. You ran away from Andrew Wilson. He was ready to debate you. You didn't have an argument ready. You're such a pussy, dude.
Look at you trying to game that shit.
Okay.
My God,
let me go at it from the other angle. Okay. You asked me why I'm asking the question because he presented that there are lies. If there are lies, that would indicate that there is truth. Right? He could define, He can define what lies are. I want to know if he can define what truth is. What is truth?
Okay, but this is a very like generic question. That's the problem that I kind of have with it, because like what I want Flo to try to answer to me is based on the interactions that he has had with Brick, you, and generally specific, that he believes that they are not being completely honest. Let's just put it that way. I don't want to claim that they are lying about anything, but Flo is thinking that way. So Flo, can you answer that question? Like what you believe that they're not being completely honest about?
I have one very easily accessible example, and it is when Generally Specific, who has talked to me many times about religion, now all of a sudden pretends like he thinks agnostic means I have no knowledge of anything. That is a lie.
Okay.
We're
do you have
talking
a
about
response
God.
to that?
You seem to be acting like an authority on God when you claim to be agnostic, meaning you don't know. You think there's a God out there, you just don't know. But you're also making a claim on what you know that you can discern truth. And Bricky's asking you're making the claim. Prove the claim, genius.
So I think, like, I mean, Flo said one thing, which is that you guys have had a lot of conversations with each other, and then you are saying that being agnostic means like without knowledge. That's the a very technical definition of agnostic. And only way to resolve this is that, Flo, do you agree with that definition of agnosticism or agnosticism?
I think that colloquially, we all know what I meant by agnostic.
Which is
Generally Specific knows what I mean, which is I don't know if a God exists or not.
Okay, fine.
That's clear as day. It's been clear to Generally Specific for a month now. But all of a sudden he's pretending like I need to demonstrate something, or like it means I can't have any opinion on anything or any understanding of anything. That's a lie. It's disingenuous.
Flo, with respect, you made a very distinct claim that you
without
can
respect, shut the fuck up. You're full of shit.
That you can discern the truth, Flo. Show us. Prove it. I'm going to act like a Pharisee right now. Prove it. Show me. Prove your claim, Flo. Or hide like a little turtle. Go back in your shell.
Says the rage quitter. I've already demonstrated it. I just explained it, and you're sitting there going, prove it. Dude, I just showed it to you.
While you've been queefing all over the microphone, I was up making a delicious pasta sauce, a bolognese for my wife and myself. Yeah. So listen, I can multitask.
I thought you were filming storms. Are you lying again?
I'm lying again. That's great, dude. Yeah.
So were you filming again? Were you filming storms or were you making pasta?
I just told you what I was doing.
Broke ass spaghetti eating motherfucker.
There it is, Flo.
So,
dude, what is your deal, dude? Like, where did the tampon hurt you on your heavy flow day? I'm just curious. Show me on the dolly where the tampon hurt you.
All right, gentlemen.
Did it break your hymen?
Oh my goodness.
Am I pregnant? Am I pregnant like your God?
Ethan, go ahead, sir.
I was just going to say, Generally Specific, you don't sound very Christian, dude. Like, Christians don't really talk like this.
Here we go with the moralizing. Well, I'm Andrew Wilson, Orthodox Christian, so I can smoke, drink, and say fuck all day long. Deal with it. Take it up with Andrew Wilson.
You're a hypocrite and a crybaby. It's no wonder you get bullied all over the internet and have to go on Raging Tomatoes and cry about it.
Did you have a conversation with Based? Did I hurt his feelings?
What are you talking about? I'm talking about the conversation you had last night with me on Raging Tomatoes about why everybody bullies you all over the internet. It's because you're a crybaby bitch.
Oh, are you trying to get that Izzy sweet cheddar flow? Is that what you're trying to get?
Okay,
pandering.
But
I
don't care.
Are you in the panderverse?
I don't care if everybody bullies Generally Specific. He's been all right on my channel, but like this back and forth.
That.
Well, okay, but the thing that I would like to focus on is the specifics, I suppose, because with the generalities we can go all over the place. So obviously there's some kind of bad blood that's happening between you guys, and I don't want to add fuel to the fire. So I do want to give the opportunity to other people here to be able to share their thoughts. Pirate, do you have any thoughts? And then Brick.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to say in my position right now, but I know we all have different experiences and different beliefs and strong beliefs, obviously, but I think growing up and being a man and it's also being capable to deal with with people that have other visions, and like to be okay with it. Like at the end of the day, we have all beliefs, but if we all judge each other based on that, we will never be all agree, because I mean, even if I mean, generally specific, he's a Christian, but amongst the Christian, you have all the differences and arguments, and then amongst your own little group, you have differences and arguments, and so if we continue like this, and we have already in the past, so now we are like in a society where we just live basically alone. We are alone, even with our wife. With if we have a wife, so it's now egotistic. I don't know how to say it. Like it's ego. We're now ego civilization. We think we have the understanding, and I have the answers, and I think better than others, and other are all pussy, and I have the big dick, and I'm the man, and what the fuck? Like maybe we can just learn at each other's, and me, I think like that, and maybe generally specifics is not agree with me, and it's not about who is right or who is wrong. I have my reason to think like that. He have his reason. Maybe we can share our reasons and evolve together in a
Okay.
new understanding, both.
I think that's very fair and very wise to see the commonality in our cause and try to go from there rather than the imagined disagreements, as some might say. Brick, did you want to take it somewhere? Did you have a question or a statement that you would like to share with everybody?
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, so I definitely do agree with what Pirate's saying. You know, the Greeks used to do this thing. They used to sit around the Pantheon and discuss certain topics, things like religion and politics. And it's really interesting that we find ourselves in that same position in these days. We do it through the power of electronics. And, you know, I really do agree with what Pirate's saying. It is the fact that we are in this world alone. And, you know, the ability to do this, it's just something that, you know, 50, 60 years ago, people would have actually had to go somewhere to do it. And so we're really living in such a beneficial time. So I just don't want anybody to take that for granted. And also, I wanted to say that I am genuinely enjoying this. This is quite nice, and I really appreciate you having me up on panel. I also go over to Flow States sometimes, recently, of course, and I do enjoy his program as well. If anybody hasn't yet, I'd really strongly suggest going over there and subbing up and hitting the like button, that sort of thing. This channel as well. I've seen you a couple of times, and I see what programs you guys run. Generally specific, I feel like he's a brother of mine. At this point, there's a lot of views that he and I see eye to eye on, but there are definitely, absolutely, 100% some things that he and I will probably never ever agree on. But I do put these things past so that I can move forward. And so that's what, in my mind, it's really about. That's why when Pirate mentions these things about how we should look at each other's views and try to learn from those things, it's really such a benefit. You know, that the morality of it all, the principles, we're going to gain so much from this, so much. So I just don't want that to get lost. You know, even though we might not agree, those principles, those morals, the things that we're going to learn, it's definitely here.
Well, that was very magnanimous of you, Brick. Thank you very much for that, and I think that is good that we are, trying to look at the commonality of things. Ethan, do you want to share any thoughts?
I don't really have any thoughts, but they still haven't proven any of their claims, which I find interesting.
What specifically?
Their claims about the
virgin birth,
immaculate reception, conception, and Jesus being God. And then, I mean, I would like to hear their thoughts on their claims that Jesus is God and the triune Godhead, which the Bible also fails to mention as well. I think that would be an interesting rabbit hole to hear what they think about that, or hear their proofs for that.
Well, I do wonder if going and diving into this is going to create more division or not. But if you guys want to talk about it, I don't have an issue. Flo, do you have any thoughts on the matter?
Yeah, I was just going to say I appreciate Brick being magnanimous, and despite the hostility here, you're definitely always welcome anytime. And I appreciate you acknowledging that even though Generally Specific is a Christian as well as you are, that he's still a bitch.
Yeah, I'm still waiting on Flo to prove his claim that he knows how people are lying.
Thanks,
and he should be working for Quantico, I think. You're missing a job opportunity there, Flo.
You guys, oh my gosh. I mean, like, we to get away from this back and forth, but we want to go back right at it. So what's the best thing to do?
No, I just want him. I want him to.
Should I get rid of everybody?
No,
okay,
I just want him. I want him to prove
do.
his claim from 20 minutes ago. He made it.
All
he
right,
made it
guys.
to Brick. Brick is the one that he needs to have a conversation with. Brick wanted to know how he knows whether he wants to know what the truth is. How do you know, Flo?
I don't know what.
How do you not know? How do you claim to be an agnostic, meaning not knowing about God? I put the definition up in there. Yet you can know what I do. You can know that what I know about God is wrong. Wouldn't that require knowledge on your part?
Because yes.
Well, then you're not agnostic.
I am not. I do have knowledge. You know that I have some knowledge. I don't know that God exists. You understand the context in which I said that. You're pretending like you don't because you can't argue back my points in good faith.
Oh, okay. So wait.
So you're lying and changing the context.
So let me understand what you're saying. I'm going to try to figure out what you're saying.
You know what the fuck I'm saying.
It seems to me that you're saying that you don't know.
We're not going to play the semantic game.
All right, here
you're playing games.
All right.
All right, go ahead and ask your stupid fucking question, and then I'll tell you why it's a deceptive question. Go ahead.
It's not even a question. I'm trying to ascertain where you're at. I'm trying to steel man your argument, but you're slipperier than an eel. So you're claiming to be an agnostic, which means having what I believe. I call myself a hopeful agnostic, meaning I know there's something bigger than me out there. Everyone seems to talk about it. I'm just not sure which one's the right one. That's what I held to. Maybe the hopeful aspect of being an agnostic is the differential between you and I, but you seem definitively to know that whatever the Christian God is the absolute, not that. Meaning it's got to be something other than the Christian God. But I've heard you say with your own mouth many, many times that you hate all religions equally. Your thoughts?
My thoughts are that I almost only interact with Christians. I'm familiar with Christianity. No. I let you talk. Let me talk. Let me talk.
Come on,
you
Skippy,
hear me arguing against Christianity a lot. Let me talk, you old crybaby fuck.
Go ahead, buddy.
You're a Christian. When we discuss things and I'm arguing against a religion, I'm not arguing against Islam because you're not a fucking Muslim.
Was that an argument?
I can only explain it to you. I can't understand it for you.
Dude, you sound like a fucking retard and your shit's all fucking backwards, man. Seriously, what's wrong with you, dude?
You shall know them by their fruits. What kind of fruits you got?
Yeah, I'm a long way from fixed, dude. I'm saved, but I'm a long way from
You're
fixed.
not saved.
Well, there you go. You claim to know knowledge about me. So how is it that you have so much more knowledge about me?
I'm speculating that you're
God in my life, but yet you claim to be agnostic? I think
let me put forward my
I think you're a
belief.
Poser and a grifter.
I
think you're a liar and you're a grifter. I think
you think that I'm grifting, making money at putting down the biggest religion on earth. You think that that's a good strategy for grifting?
It's actually not the biggest religion on earth.
It is the biggest religion on earth.
You're wrong.
Somebody can fact check us in the chat, but I'm pretty sure I'm not wrong.
Fact check yourself there, Flow State, because you can tell when somebody's lying or telling the truth. So were you lying then, or are you lying now about knowing the truth of things?
Let me look it up. Hold your horse.
I win. Mic drop. Mic drop. Huge. Everyone said that my victory over Flow State was huge. He's trying to practice for Andrew Wilson. He's trying to do blood spurts. Blood spurts or sports? Is it spurts? Because I think it's a heavy flow. I really do. I would recommend a maxi pad or a really big tampon to plug that hole, brother. I say that with love, with Christian love.
Are you spurting because I know you know that I'm right? It is Christianity. I just looked it up.
So much fun right now. You have no idea how much fun. Well,
so we just found another lie.
Where did you look it up?
No, I'm not playing this game with you. I just Googled it. You Google searched it.
That where you looked it up on the interwebs was telling you the truth?
I have more faith in the interwebs than I do in a demonstrable liar like yourself.
You have more faith in the
internet than you. Yes, I do.
Have in the Bible.
Yes.
That's really interesting. Because if it's, my French model boyfriend, we said that it was true because it was on the internet. If it was on the internet, it's got to be true. You remember that commercial way back in the day? You're that guy.
What I'm saying is that I know you to be a liar. I know the Bible to be self-contradicting.
The debate is one, dude. Then show me. Prove it. Prove how I'm a liar.
You can do your own Google search.
Prove that I'm a liar.
I don't have to prove a negative.
First off, you can divine the truth.
Prove Jesus exists, generally.
Prove that you can divine the truth.
No.
Why do you keep moving the goalpost?
This whole conversation
like a wimp right now, dude. Why are you running?
I'm bringing the goalpost back to the beginning.
You got Andrew Wilson
Calm down,
bro, and you can't even handle me.
Calm down.
I don't even know how to debate.
Stop talking over me and let me state the point.
Sauce, Batman. Go ahead.
You're scared.
Prove your claim. Prove your claim that you can discern the truth.
I'm going to bring the goalpost back to the original position. I don't know if there's a God or not. You claim to know. The burden of proof is on you.
I prove the positive. A man with an argument has not. You're the man with the argument has nothing on a man with an experience. I hope you have that experience.
You haven't given me an experience. You're giving me an argument.
To give you an experience. The experience is for you to find, dude. You're not going to find it when you're sitting there swimming and splashing around in the kiddie pool.
With you?
What does that even mean? You sound
means you're the kiddie pool. You're the kiddie pool. You haven't provided an experience. You provided an argument. You actually haven't even provided an argument. You're just standing on an assertion.
I'll bless those who curse me. I call you blessed, Flo. Have a good one, buddy.
I'm not cursing you. I'm just calling you a liar.
False witness.
False witness?
Okay, so you've now made the determination that I'm a liar, which means you're a discerner of the truth. Prove that you're a discerner of the truth. Come on, Flo.
Nope.
Nope. God, you had an opportunity to have a debate with Andrew Wilson, and you freaking tuck-tailed and ran because you weren't ready. Dude, I'm ready to have the argument.
I see you trying to play these games.
I'm a very unprepared Christian. I'm a very unprepared Christian, but yet I'm still willing to argue with a retard like you.
You're not arguing. You're making a claim. You're making an assertion and not backing it up. You're saying, I have an experience. That's fine.
You're making the claim that you can discern the truth, Flo, and I'm asking
you. I can tell when you lie to me and when you pretend like you don't know what agnostic is. That's an example of a lie.
How can you tell with 100% accuracy?
I'm not playing this game. Definitely not playing this game with you.
So exactly. You're a mealy-mouth whiner. You don't believe what it is that's coming out of your mouth, dude. You have no courage.
You don't believe what it is that's coming out of your mouth. You're not arguing in good faith. You're the one who can't handle being around a Muslim. You're the one who crybabies and rage quits while he's cooking. Were you cooking pasta while you were filming The Storm?
No, I was cooking pasta sauce. See, you don't even pay attention to small details. And I was looking out the storm outside my kitchen window. Is that okay with you?
And filming it.
We had two tornadoes.
You were cooking, listening, typing, and filming all at once.
Is that okay with you, Flo? Is it okay with you that I went upstairs?
I just think it's amazing you have the capacity to cook, film, and type while you're looking out the window. Well, that's a lot of things to do at once.
I'm really sorry, Flo. I forgot to check with you before I planned and organized my day. I will never make that mistake again, Flo. Apparently,
I'm really sorry that you can't keep your lies straight.
So now I'm a liar. I told you exactly.
Now you're a liar. Where the fuck have you been? I've been calling you a liar the whole damn time.
Now I'm a liar, right?
You've been a liar. That's been what I've been saying.
Dude. You sound so freaking retarded right now.
Prove it. Prove I'm retarded. Prove it, generally specific. Come on.
Okay, I will.
Come on, don't be a coward. Prove it. Prove I'm retarded.
Keep talking.
No, you prove it. You prove that I'm retarded. How do you know anything if you don't know anything? This is why people bully you, dumb motherfucker.
Okay, gentlemen, that's it for now. We're done for that. Everybody's gonna
wait. Did you just
it.
admit? Did you just admit that the internet's bullying me? I thought that's against terms and service. Flo, are you bullying me too? Are you admitting to bullying me right now?
Oh, I'll bully the fuck out of you.
Okay, all right, clip it.
No, God. Let me say hello to this incarnate unlimited. Who are you, and do you have any thoughts?
Yeah,
Somebody...
I've been listening. I've been listening for the last 3.5 hours or so. I found this very interesting. I just wanted to throw my hat in the ring, and I think I can possibly offer some rational, non-churchianity explanations for some of the things.
If you wish. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, so I can't prove that that Mary was a virgin. I know there's claims about it. I can't and I can't prove that Jesus actually existed. I have a lot of valid reasons why I believe it. And those reasons came with a lot of diligent research before I even drew the conclusions. I do understand that there's a whole lot of really mixed up deceptions, delusions, just everything about the entire subject is muddy with but I think what Flow State's trying to get out of a Christian is an honest answer, which again everybody who I've heard is giving their own honest answer, but it still has a resounding flavor of what sounds to someone who is an agnostic like bullshit. Because it's what's been told on the subject as opposed to something that can be proven on the subject. So anyways, I really enjoyed the conversation so far, and I just had a wild hair up my ass to just poke my head in and say, hey.
Yeah, count it all joy, brother, when you fall into certain trials and tribulations, for it's a proving ground of your faith, that your faith may be perfect and complete, lacking nothing. So it's interesting how, once again, the Christians' feet are being put to the fire and burned. That's very interesting. Yet I still have yet to hear this man answer to his claim of how he discerns truth from lie. By what power? What magical power?
Just prove Jesus was God, dude. It's such a simple question.
There we go again.
Prove he was born of Immaculate Conception.
Again. A man with an argument has nothing on a man with.
You're a sophist, dude, and you're just spiraling.
That was my answer. Now, that was my answer.
Jesus, bro.
That was my answer, Ethan.
And the Prince of Lies has his minions out here lying for him.
And then we have Flow State, who has yet to back up his claim. Come on, back up your
prove you're not a Luciferian Freemason Jew.
Show me, Flo. Show me, Oive. Show me, Flo.
You're a goofball. Your arguments are terrible. You are the worst debater. You were right about that. It's the only thing you've been right about all day, bro.
But I'm sure you're a masturbator, aren't you?
Well, this was a very interesting conversation. It seems to have kind of devolved into a game of badminton. I think
I agree. Hey, Flo, good luck, man. Andrew Wilson's going to tear you to shreds, buddy. You can't even stand up to me, dude. I'm nothing. I'm absolutely nothing.
You didn't even make any case. You didn't make a single point.
Exactly. Exactly. Yet he can't back up his fucking claim, Ethan. But you're acting
like over it, bro. Just prove your own claim. That was
my claim is that I don't know if God exists. You're the one making a positive claim. Demonstrate it, or explain the thought process.
Nachi,
hold on, people. Don't rage quit yet.
Well, no, I got things
to do. Don't rage. No, you don't.
I got things.
No, you don't.
Yeah,
no, you don't.
Important things to do.
You've got time. Look, you're so concerned about saving your reputation and your name.
Man, why don't you tell people?
Let me. Hold on. If you care so much about your reputation that you're going to cry about it yesterday at Tomatoes, then you got time to sit here.
Flo. Why don't you tell
What,
people
that
what you
you're a
said to me?
liar?
Get Izzy to come into the channel and donate to you. You'll split it with me. Do you remember saying that?
I do.
Yeah, you do, because you're a fucking grifter and a liar. But you know what you are.
I'm pretty sure I said it publicly. Anyway,
you didn't, dude. You
demonstrate
said it
to me.
You said it behind the curtain, buddy. Congratulations.
Okay. Well, I'm saying it in front of the fucking curtain.
Yeah,
it's
I know
not a
it because you're a
secret.
grifter
Because
and a
I'm
liar.
not a liar.
I see you for exactly
If I
what
could
you
interject
are,
for a moment, guys.
yeah,
Let's-
interject without me. So I'm gonna rage.
All right, here goes the rage quit.
Nachi. So I appreciate you. I've given you how many hours have I been in here? 2 hours now. I think I got better things to do.
You got things to do.
Why don't you find a fucking hobby like crocheting or something useful?
My new hobby is bullying your bitch ass.
Well, bring it then, son. You're being good company, dude. It's real easy. Fish in a barrel, buddy. Why don't you raise your game and go for somebody like Andrew Wilson, you fucking pussy?
All right.
Specific.
Good
You
speaking
didn't
with you.
debunk any. Sorry.
Wait a minute. One second. Generally specific. I hope you have a good rest of the day, and thanks for being up here, and have a good one.
I will.
Okay.
Thank you, Nachi. You take care.
Jesus can save you from this bullying, bitch.
Great to see. Great to see you on. Great to see you on Panel GS, man. Same thing. I hope you have a wonderful day, bro.
Yeah. So, do you think Jesus could save me from what you got coming my way, Flo? Is that possible?
I don't think Jesus can stop me from doing shit.
Oh, like what kind of plans do you have for me? I'm just curious, Flo. You just gonna join the crowd? You gonna do some ad populum? That's really tough, isn't it? Way to swim against the current, big tough guy. Way to have some courage of your convictions.
My conviction is to bully you.
Yeah. So guess what, dude? You're a minnow swimming in an entire field of minnows because you lack the compunction.
Is that why you spend so much time and energy crying about all the minnows?
And the balls to swim on your own, dude. Because you want to blend into the crowd. You hope it gives you protection, man. Good job, man.
Is there that big of a crowd of people who hate you?
Yeah, it seems like it's.
At what point do you realize the problem is you?
Yeah, it's like the Jews, right? 109 different territories, but it's not them, is it? Is it, Flo? 109.
At some point, you got to look at yourself and go, why am I the one everybody can't stand? What is it about me that makes people want to bully me?
Yeah, and sometimes you got to look at yourself, Flo, and you got to go, why is it that I want to have a debate with Andrew Wilson, and when Andrew Wilson presents himself, I run like a little fucking bitch because I'm not prepared. Good job, buddy. Good job.
Hey, guys. This is part of why I wanted to pop my head into the debate here is, I think a couple of Flo's questions or requests, as it were, I think the answer that he's looking for is that, prove that, Mary was a virgin. I can't prove it. Prove that Jesus is God. I can't prove that either. There's a lot of reasons behind, why a lot of people believe it. But bottom line, at the end of the day, I don't have concrete evidence. I have a lot of very good reasons why these, things are things that I can't rule out, and things that I genuinely do believe.
So the question, I wasn't, even though it did devolve into that, originally I was not looking for hard proof. I know it can't be proven. Really what I would be satisfied with is just hearing the thought process, the logical steps that somebody takes to get to why they believe this to be the truth, instead of a story. And I have not heard that either. So
I have a question for the non-Christians or the agnostics on panel, and perhaps Flo, you could open it up. Do you believe that any of the scriptures, the documents that I call historical documents, do you believe that any of them are historical at all?
Yes, I believe that there are true events, historical events, genealogies. I also believe that there's truth in the metaphors or in the stories that are not literally true, but have lessons, have takeaways.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. Yeah, so I mean, I don't want to go too deep with it because ultimately for me is part of the base for my knowledge, or I shouldn't say knowledge, I should say faith, right? When I look at the scriptures, I do personally look at them as historical documents. I consider the scholars that studied them in the past, and the places that they came from, and the things that were found. You know, there's actually other artifacts, and so the leading towards the possibility of them being historical by looking at all of the possibilities, for me personally, I actually have as well come to the belief that they are in fact historical documents. So I mean, that's just kind of a point that I just wanted to ask you about, and to see if that's a possibility in your mind that they are historical, because there are some people who look at the documents and say there's no way any of this is true, that they're just a bunch
that's
of
not
lies.
me. That's not me.
Cool, man. Cool. Yeah.
The other thing is that I would point out that there's a distinct difference between, and you're going to ask me for a specific example, and I don't have one handy, but there are a lot of ways in which colloquial Christianity veers aside from the Bible that people claim that it is built out of.
So just to clarify, because you know, I'm not, I mean, I could probably break it down or look it up. What is colloquial?
I think he's referring to what we call churchianity.
Gotcha.
Yeah, there I can concur with that. There are definitely some things that are present in Orthodox Christian, you know, not doctrine, but just teachings that are, let's just say, a little bit taken out of context or inferred, or just things that have been, you know, that verifiably aren't actually in the text.
Gotcha. Yeah. And so for me too, you know, I actually don't look at it in that perspective. I'm not mainstream. In fact, I'm probably, if not the biggest outlier, I'm probably one of the biggest outliers. When I look at the text, I definitely do see some problems with the mainstream, the colloquial, as you would put it,
likewise,
the consensus. There's certain things that, and this goes back to certain things that GS and I certainly wouldn't agree on. Of course, there are things that Christians, even in the same churches, the same congregations, will never agree on. And there's a funny thing about that, is that you get into a church, you get into a congregation, and everybody expects that you got to believe what they believe. And that, of course, it's just foolish. That there's nobody
first and
who's going to believe.
foremost is usually the Trinity too.
Which makes no sense at all. I wasn't even going to go down that rabbit hole. But let me ask this one then. If we believe in the Bible, I believe it's the Gospel of John. There's a part where Jesus says all these things will come to pass either during your lifetime to his apostle or in the generation. I don't remember how it's worded specifically.
Yes, there's this generation shall not see death until he see the Son of God coming into his kingdom.
Okay.
Which actually, I've heard a pretty recent explanation that kind of makes sense, that they did see him raise up off the Mount of Olives and go into his kingdom. Doesn't necessitate that he was actually referring to he was coming out of the clouds with his kingdom back here.
Yeah, I would tend to have to agree with that. Although, you know, I would have to go look back at the scriptures. Personally, I don't just come to the conclusion on specifics without just having, you know, reference the scriptures themselves.
And I don't remember it
That's the way you have to do it.
Sorry, but I'm pretty sure that it was regarding him returning or the kingdom returning. I don't remember. Incarnate knows the verse I'm talking. I don't know if you know the actual specific verse. I don't, off the top of my head.
I don't know the address of it, but I'm familiar with it. I've heard quite a few recent takes on, you know, apologetics on what that actually meant when he's referring to this generation shall not see death until, you know, because he was talking to people who were still alive then, and they're clearly not alive anymore, and there clearly isn't his kingdom here yet. So,
and so
there's lots of little things that could be that, like word semantics, hangups, and stuff like that, can be taken to, you know, turn it around and make you know, make it kind of sound like, well, that clearly isn't right, so, you know, the rest of it can't be right.
But if you take a step back and just look at, and I believe that this applies to, I don't know if Judaism has a heaven or hell. I don't believe it does, actually. But it applies to Islam and Christianity equally. If you look at the paradigm in which God, who is perfect, created man, right, and which presumably is exactly how he intended to create them, because he's perfect and he made us. Then to shift the attitude and say that now that you're created as the perfect creator wanted you to be created, now you have to prove that you're good enough to not be tortured for eternity. Especially since I believe in Genesis, it says God said, and it was good. Regarding creation,
good, in fact.
Right. The whole thing takes a big shift in attitude, and it doesn't actually make any logical sense.
I have a few good thoughts on that as well. If this is the argument about like why the hell did he put that tree right in the middle of the garden and say don't touch that?
No, it's the argument about how if God is perfect, how can he created us and he said we're good, very good. How then could we not be good? How then after that could we be guilty of original sin, for instance, is what the Catholics call it?
He was referring to the creation which he had just made as a whole, the completed project that he just got finished doing, and that is very good. Now, what really screwed up is when he gave us the whole free will thing and left us to our own devices. Meanwhile, with a supernatural, immortal, what do you call that? Just a deviant deceiver who really, for some reason, had a wild hair up his ass to just throw a chink in the whole thing. And,
but all that stuff, all that has to be good. He made us and gave us free will. That's all good. Free will includes our nature, right? Our nature is to choose, make decisions in a certain way. Presumably, that nature is also good. It's in God's image, in fact. So to shift and say
it is
right. So all this shit is good, and we're made exactly how God wanted us to be. The entire paradigm is created as God wanted it to be. It cannot be bad if God is all powerful, and
the creation itself cannot be bad. However, there was a force that was present and an intelligence that was also separate from what he was calling good. That as far as I can ascertain,
that's not scriptural.
He didn't want to bow down to Adam.
That's not scriptural. That's implied.
Yes, again, this is according to my what I've ascertained over the last few years of me searching the subject.
So that it sounds like what you're telling me is churchianity. You're giving me the churchianity response, not the scriptural one.
Prime example. There you go. Exactly. So any inference on this particular subject is honestly going to be an inference, because there's not anything solid that gives the as therefore he declared this is why that should happen.
Well, salute to you for being honest in your response to that. That's much more than I could ask from generally specific, for instance.
Well, I'm a realist, and I'm not above, outwardly admitting when there's an answer that I don't have that is honestly just not there, no matter where you look.
So if the Bible is correct, and wouldn't it make more sense to believe that the Christian institutions, the of this world institutions, the Pharisees, for instance, that they injected this whole paradigm into something that is not scriptural to deceive people?
There's a lot of things that were absolutely, I can 100% attest to, that there is no possible way that wasn't tampered with and shifted and molded in a capacity to wield against the people. It has definitely been used as a weapon against the minds and morals of everyone who's been involved in it. And that very same nefarious creature that was inferently present in that very good creation that had, for whatever reason, decided to fuck these guys. he's still here. He's still actively, he's been at work with this whole thing, shifting, morphing, and taking a Sharpie and scratching this out and writing his name on that, and just because he's got it in for us. If God did create, this very good creation that for whatever reason he doesn't want to succeed, I think it's a testament to the resilience, at least, of that creation, that we're still here and still talking about these things, and there's still going to be an outcome at the very end of that he is also going to declare very good, which I have absolute faith in. If what else have I got? If I don't have that, then what the hell's the whole point? And I don't think that there's any possibility that this is all for naught.
Yep, and I don't know what this is for, but I have faith that whether or not there is something, I know exactly what I'm supposed to know. If there is a God, then and He created everything, then I'm exactly where I should be. I know exactly what I should know, and lying about that fact doesn't do anything to help anybody out.
Yeah, and I am definitely not lying about any of these things which I'm saying. These are my opinions, and these are my conclusions that I've drawn over a long period of searching. And, so I'm not declaring, thus saith the Lord. This is just what thus thinketh Aaron, So again, this is part of why I wanted to pop my head into the conversation, because I noticed that
I'm glad you did.
There's at least a base level of realistic honesty that you are expecting out of your questions that is kind of difficult to get from people who have such strong, resilient faith in these churchianity teachings.
Oh, his faith
to actually
weak.
honestly, and I don't think he was being dishonest either. This is how he feels and what he thinks.
He was. No, he knows he was. By pretending he didn't know what I meant by agnostic, he was being dishonest the whole way through.
I don't know. That could go either way. Again, I honestly, I understand someone of his convictions and his responses, and I also understand someone of your convictions and your responses as well. I was in the exact same position like not that long ago. So.
Yeah, I mean, we are all striving towards some objectivity, and it's kind of like a Venn diagram, but nobody's going to agree with each other on any one point 100%. So it just is what it is. I think whatever happened there, people can try to resolve it. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. All I can really try to do here, the best that I can, is just give everybody enough space so they can get their point across, I suppose. But I do kind of want to wrap it up relatively soon myself.
I really appreciate this, Notch. I just stumbled on you from Burn the Corporate Fiction like yesterday or the day before, and I just decided to look you up, and I've been listening for probably a good 4 hours now. I enjoy it. I'm subbed, and you may be hearing more from me if this is a common point of your forum. I appreciate you having me on. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and, we're always willing to get anybody up as long as they're willing to, adhere to, sharing the mic and just kind of like being cordial. That's all,
And hey, thanks for coming up, man. It was good hearing from you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I'm logging off. I'm about home anyway. So,
all right,
guys.
Cool.
Good to see you, brother.
Take care. Any final thoughts from? Let's start with Ethan. Do you want to share any final thoughts? Any feelings that you want to share? Okay, he may not be there. Brick.
Yeah, brother. So if I truly identified as anything, I would simply just identify as a man. I wouldn't actually identify as a Christian. I wouldn't identify as a believer or someone who has faith or anything like that. Although my beliefs definitely give way to the observation that I have a Christian outlook on life. There's a certain morality that goes with that. There are Christians who don't have quite the knowledge and the capacity to extend that type of generosity that a
maturity is what you're looking for, I think.
Grace is all I'm asking for. I don't see any benefit to bullying anybody on either side. I've seen it. I experienced it throughout my whole life. Right? So having experienced the bullying, the nonsensical, whatever you want to call it, it's just no benefit to a productive conversation. Like I said before, when I first came up, I mentioned the Greeks and the Pantheon. If you'd have come up into the Pantheon, you know, like a madman just throwing out ad hominems, you know, they'd have just called the guard over and thrown you out of the Pantheon, regardless of whether it's, you know, you're right or wrong. It doesn't matter. You're not going to sit there and just act like a crazy man. And it could be both of you. Right. So my encouragement for the day is that when we have these conversations, you know, we look at it from an outward look, right? Just an objective perception. That way we don't, you know, get in our feels. And I really, like I said, I do appreciate what you do over there on your channel, Flo. GS is really, truly like a brother to me. And he does a great work, in my opinion. And there are things that he has studied and he really, truly believes to the point that he knows, kind of like me. It's to that point at this point. If I said I know it, it's because I really, truly believe it that much, so much so that I have that much faith. But that's just me. That's my view. That's my perspective. And like I said, if you want to hear a Christian's perspective, I would say go sub up to GS's channel. If you want to hear an agnostic's perspective, Flow State's definitely the perspective you can go check out. And then, you know, Nacha, you got a great platform here. Keep it up, brother, man. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you.
Be good.
Yep. Okay, Flo, do you have any thoughts that you would like to share before we call it an evening or morning?
Thanks for having me up. It was a good conversation again. I'm sorry for dragging it down into the muck a little bit, but it is what it is. And if anybody missed it, I have determined Ethan is not a Fed boy. So.
Okay, well, that's good. At least we resolved that, you know. So, but then we have another thing to resolve. So.
Oh no! Generally specific is going to get bullied and bullied and bullied some more.
Well, I mean, that's up to you guys, obviously. But the only thing I will say about that is that, you know, this is the internet. So people are going to say whatever about you or against you or whatnot. So just try to be stoic as much as possible, I suppose.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks for having me up. Later. Salutes to the chat.
All right. Later.